Good morning, students. So, our next topic is dynamic state of body constituents concept of metabolism. As we all know that if we are talking about any of the living organisms, all the living organisms that are present on this earth, whether they are very smallest living organisms like bacteria or they are complex like the animals or mammals, they contain many of the organic compounds which we call as biomolecules. And these biomolecules, they are present in various concentration. Okay, what happens that these biomolecules, they show the process called as turnover. Now what is the meaning of word turnover? Turnover means that the biomolecules, they are constantly changing from one form to the another form. Okay, so in simple terms we can say that the simpler biomolecules, they combine to form the complex biomolecules, or sometime what happened, the complex biomolecules, they broke down into the simpler kind of biomolecules. So it means that they are keeping on transforming from one form to another form. So this property is termed as turnover. Okay, so every biomolecule that is having a turnover, it means it does not um, be same always. Okay, वो change होता रहता है. Now the next term is metabolism. Now these biomolecules, they participate in many of the chemical reactions that are taking place in our body. Okay, so metabolism means all the kind of chemical reactions that are present in a living body, that is called as metabolism. Like we can take the example when the amino acids, they are converted into amine by removing of the carbon dioxide. This is one of the example of metabolic reaction. Another metabolic reaction is removal of amino group in nucleotide bases. हमने nucleotides में पढ़ा that nucleotides, they are made up of three components: bases, nitrogenous base, phosphate group and sugar. Okay, so when from the bases, nitrogenous bases, amino group is removed, that is again example of metabolic reaction. Hydrolysis of glycosidic bond in disaccharides, we have studied that various monosaccharides, they join by this glycosidic linkage to form a polysaccharide. So when this glycosidic bond, it get hydrolysis means it gets broken down. That is again the example of metabolic reaction. So maximum of the chemical reactions that are occurring inside our body, they cannot occur in isolation. They are always linked together. They are present in the form of network. They are present in the form of chain always. Okay, so when these different metabolic reactions, they are interlinked with each other, this interlinkage is termed as metabolic pathway. So we can say that metabolic pathway is just like a traffic signal, जहाँ पर बहुत सारी रोड्स क्या हैं, वो मीट करती हैं. ओके, इंटरलिंक्ड होती हैं. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज मेटाबॉलिक pathway. These pathways may be linear or circular, and they crisscross each other as the traffic junction, as I have already discussed with you. जैसे ट्रैफिक जंक्शन में बहुत सारी रोड्स आपस में मीट करती हैं, क्रिस क्रॉस करती हैं, in the same way different kind of reactions that are taking place inside the living organisms, they are crisscrossed with each other, they are interlinked with each other. Okay, and that is called as, that interlinking is termed as metabolic pathway. Clear? Now we come on to the next part, that is different chemicals, they flow through the metabolic pathway, and this flow is called as the dynamic state. Dynamic means which is always in motion, which is never steady. ओके, वो जो चीज़ हमेशा चलती रहती है, फ्लो करती रहती है, उसको हम डायनेमिक स्टेट बोलते हैं। तो ये जितने भी बायोमोलिक्यूल्स हैं, मेटाबोलाइट्स हैं, जो मेटाबॉलिक रिएक्शन में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं केमिकल्स, दे आर ऑल्सो टर्म्ड एज मेटाबोलाइट्स. So basically metabolites, they are the biomolecules only. So these biomolecules, they flow through the metabolic pathway, and all the chemical reactions that are occurring inside our body, they are catalyzed by the enzymes. They are catalyzed by some kind of special biomolecules called as the enzymes. Okay, even carbon dioxide dissolving in water, it is a physical process, but when it is occurring inside the living system, then this reaction is again a catalyzed reaction. So in the living organisms, the catalyst, it is not any kind of chemical, it is the biomolecule called as the enzymes. So how will you define the enzyme? Enzymes, they are the proteins with the catalytic power. Okay, enzymes, they are the proteins. All the enzymes, they are proteins which are having the catalytic power. Catalytic power means they help in increasing the speed of the reaction. ओके, सो एंजाइम्स का काम क्या है? ये किसी भी रिएक्शन की स्पीड को स्पीड अप कर देते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा लेवल पे हाई कर देते हैं स्पीड को. ओके, नाउ metabolic basis for living. Next topic is metabolic basis for living. Now these metabolic pathways, they can lead more complex structure from the simpler structure, or they even may lead to a simpler structure from a complex structure. So basically there are two types of reactions, we can say anabolic reaction and catabolic reaction. Anabolic reaction, they are the addition reaction, they are synthesizing reaction, they are forming reaction. जहाँ पर कोई चीज़ बन रही है, जहाँ पर कोई भी सिंपलर फॉर्म आपस में मिलकर कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रक्चर बनाएगी, उसको हम बोलते हैं एनाबॉलिक रिएक्शन. कैटाबॉलिक इज एग्जैक्टली ऑपोजिट ऑफ एनाबॉलिक. व्हेन द कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रक्चर, कॉम्प्लेक्स बायोमोलिक्यूल इज ब्रोकन डाउन into the simpler form, that is called as catabolic reaction. So catabolic reaction in general, they are termed as the breaking reactions. Okay, now whenever we are talking about the anabolic reaction, as new molecules, they have to be formed from, or the simpler molecules, they combine to form the complex molecule, they will always consume energy. But catabolic reaction, always energy is released. So how can we take the example of what example we can take for the anabolic reaction? It is assembly of the amino acids to form the proteins. So different kind of amino acids, they are joined to form the protein. So simpler structure, when they are combining with each other, they are forming a complex biomolecule called as protein. So it is the example of anabolic reaction. Now if we talk about the catabolic reaction, the catabolic reaction, it is the example is glycolysis. The example is glycolysis. So what is glycolysis? Glycolysis is breakdown of glucose into the pyruvic acid. Clear? And further, this reaction, it is of 10 steps. It is of 10 step reaction. Clear? फर्दर जो हमारी लैक्टिक जो हमारा ग्लूकोज है, वो डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स में ब्रेक डाउन होता है. ये जो ग्लाइकोलिसिस है, इट इज़ 10 स्टेप रिएक्शन. ये हम नेक्स्ट यूनिट में भी डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे. नाउ यहाँ पर जो एनर्जी लिबरेट हो रही है, ओके, दैट energy is stored in the form of chemical bonds, and whenever this energy is required, then these chemical bonds, they break down and that energy is utilized. So there is one special kind of energy currency in the living system, which is called as ATP. So you have to remember the full form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Okay, and it is commonly called as the energy currency. So why it is called as energy currency? When our body, it has to perform any kind of mechanical work, any kind of reaction, it has to pay the energy in the form of ATP. Okay. Now, there is one branch of science or branch of bio which deals with that how the energy is produced inside the body, how and where it is stored in the body, and how the energy is converted into the work. So, the subject, the branch of science that deals with all these kind of processes, it is termed as bioenergetic. This bioenergetic is special subject that you will study in the higher class if you opt for medical sciences. Now the next topic is living state. Now, living state means that at this level you must understand that so many biomolecules they are present in our body which perform different kind of functions. Okay, and these biomolecules they are present in various kind of they are present in particular concentration, I must say. अगर इससे कम या ज़्यादा concentration होती है तो वो एक normal function नहीं कर पाता biomolecule. Like for glucose the value is 4.5 to 5 mm. Okay, this is the normal value. For hormones it is in nanograms. Hormones they are required in very minute amount. अगर इस value से वैल्यू एक्सीड करती है देन इट इज़ अ डिफॉर्मिटी, इट इज़ अ डिजीज. अगर इस वैल्यू से वैल्यू डिक्रीज करती है देन अगेन इट इज़ अ डिसऑर्डर. सो ये जो कंसंट्रेशन है ये मैटर करती है. एक ऑप्टिमम कंसंट्रेशन में ही ये अपना मैक्सिमम वर्क कर सकते हैं बायोमोलिक्यूल्स. Okay, so these biomolecules they are always moving from one form to another, and this movement is called as metabolic flux. Okay, it can be influx यानी किसी सेल के अंदर आ रहा है या फिर efflux कहीं पर बाहर जा रहा है. तो ये जो मूवमेंट है ये अंदर या बाहर चलती रहती है. तो ये जो अंदर या बाहर जाने की मूवमेंट है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द मेटाबॉलिक फ्लक्स. ओके, नाउ any physical system, any chemical process, it will always try to move from the spontaneously to the equilibrium. वो हमेशा अपने आप को इक्विलिब्रियम में लाना चाहेगा. कोई भी सिस्टम है. सो सिस्टम एट इक्विलिब्रियम दे कैन नॉट परफॉर्म वर्क. वी ऑल नो, आपने फिजिक्स में भी पढ़ा होगा कि जो भी सिस्टम इक्विलिब्रियम में आता है वो कभी भी हम नहीं बोल सकते कि दैट system is performing some kind of work. Okay, so as living organisms they have to work continuously, so they cannot reach the equilibrium. So we can say that living state is a non-equilibrium steady state to be able to perform the work. Clear? So it is very important. Clear कि जो लिविंग स्टेट है वो नॉन इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेडी स्टेट है जो कि काम करने की कैपेसिटी रखता है. अगर कोई भी लिविंग स्टेट इक्विलिब्रियम में मान लिया जाएगा तो वो कभी भी वर्क परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाएगा. इसलिए जो लिविंग स्टेट है उसको हम क्या मानते हैं कि वो नॉन इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेडी स्टेट है which is able to perform work. And these living processes they are doing the constant efforts to prevent falling into the equilibrium. यानी जितने भी लिविंग प्रोसेसेस हमारी बॉडी में हो रहे हैं, जितने भी मेटाबॉलिक रिएक्शंस हो रही हैं, ये हमारी बॉडी को इक्विलिब्रियम में जाने से रोकते हैं ताकि हमारी बॉडी मैक्सिममली वर्क कर सके, एफिशिएंटली वर्क कर सके. Is that clear? And metabolism it provides the mechanism for production of energy. Hence जो हमारा लिविंग सिस्टम है, ओके, जो हमारा लिविंग स्टेट है और जो मेटाबॉलिज्म्स हैं दे आर synonymous. Without metabolism there cannot be the living state. Okay, so that was all about today's